Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another news video, and this one is actually Nintendo related. Now I know that Nintendo are going to claim this video, so it doesn't matter if I monetize it or not, and you know that's Nintendo's archaic practice, they can do that. But I do want to promote the Nintendo Switch, and I do want to talk about my opinions on it and what I generally thought of it. So if for those of you that don't know, on January 13th, Nintendo had a massive live stream presentation. It's about an hour long, and in it they basically revealed a lot of information about the Nintendo Switch and a few of the games that are coming out. So I want to start off by just giving you guys a little bit of information about it, and then I'm obviously going to break it down and talk about my opinions on it, and why I think Nintendo need to be careful, and I'm concerned that they are making the same mistakes again that they did with the Wii U. So Nintendo Switch, so the first thing they did is they confirmed the release date and also the price point. So Nintendo Switch is going to be officially released around the world on March the 3rd this year. So it's not far away at all, about 2 months, and it's going to cost in America about $300, and in the UK it's going to cost about $279.99. Now, they showed a little bit of information about the console, and for those of you that don't know much about it, the Nintendo Switch is supposed to be this connection between console gaming and handheld gaming. So pretty much Nintendo are putting all their eggs into one basket. It's an incredibly risky decision for them to make, but they talked about how the Nintendo Switch has 3 styles of play that they want to encourage. The first is your traditional console gaming, where you're sat down in front of a TV playing either by yourself or with your friends. The second kind was tabletop gaming. So the actual TV has like a kickstand, and then you can play, and it's portable and take it wherever you want. And then the third version obviously is the handheld gaming console, the fact that you can pick it up and play it anywhere. Now I love the concept of the Nintendo Switch. I think it's an incredibly clever concept. It's like nothing out in the industry, and I think it's a good move for Nintendo. I don't think they need to be trying to outpower the PlayStation 4 nor the Xbox One, because especially given the PlayStation Pro and the Scorpio, that is not going to be possible. So they need to find another niche, and I think the Nintendo Switch is much more unique, and I think it's a really good move for them to make. Now, the Yoshiaki Koizumi, the general producer of the Nintendo Switch, came on to the stage and actually broke down a little bit about what kind of hardware we're going to get in the box when we buy it. So the Nintendo Switch is going to come obviously with the console itself. It'll come with a docking port, 2 Joy-Con controllers, 2 straps for them, a charging cable, a power lead, and a HDMI cable. Now, the Joy-Con controllers themselves, my only concern with them is they look really, really small, and for me it's fine because I have tiny hands, but if you have big hands, I think you might struggle maybe. I don't know how they feel because I haven't actually picked it up, but yeah, I mean, they basically said that like it is super comfortable, and people that have played it have mentioned how it feels very, very natural. I don't know whether that's the case, but they do seem really small, and like they're designed for children more than for adults, and quite a large part of Nintendo's fan base are adults now. They've grown up. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they actually handle. I'll wait to sort of make my judgment on that, perhaps until I actually get hands-on with the console. The actual console itself, you can buy those Joy-Con controllers in 2 color sets. You can either get it in grey or in red and blue. I preferred the red and blue. I thought it looked really funky, and I like the color style of that. The Pro controller itself, which you can get, is going to be sold separately, and it's probably going to cost, I think, about £40 probably in the UK. Maybe $50 or $60 in the US. In terms of the battery life of the console is going to last between 2.5 to 6 hours, and that varies between games. So I think they said for the new Zelda game, probably the battery life will last roughly about 3 hours. So it's not very long in terms of battery life, and I'm sure there will be lots of upgrades and extra extended battery packs that you can buy for it later. But I think a larger battery life might have been better, but obviously it is a more powerful machine. And with it being handheld now, I can kind of understand why the battery life might not be as long. And of course, you do always have the option to plug it in through the power main while playing as well. And you can charge it while you're playing as well, which is good. The memory of the Nintendo Switch is the main thing that I have a problem with. The Nintendo Switch is going to come with an internal micro SD card, and it's only going to have a memory of 32 gigabyte, which is tiny. Now, in this day and age, in 2017, 32 gigabyte memory for a console is archaic. It is incredible. Now, I'm wondering why they've decided to do that. Perhaps it is because the games are going to be cartridge based. So it's not going to be like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, wherein when you put your disc into the console, you have to install the game onto the hard drive. It isn't going to be like that. The games are going to be stored on cartridge. So they're probably thinking the 32 gigabyte is only going to be used for things like save game data and DLC downloads. But it is short-sighted of them, especially because a lot of people do like the options of buying their games digitally. And obviously, if it's only got a 32 gigabyte memory card, you're not going to really be able to buy that many games digitally online. And it just seems a bit short-sighted. I think at least having a memory on there of like 128 gigabyte would have been a lot better. But you can upgrade that memory if you want to. You can go out and buy a micro SD card and put that into the Switch as well and increase your memory size. I can imagine people like downloading games digitally and having all these games like stored on micro SD cards and like having to put them in for each game that you want to play. I just think it's a bit short-sighted on Nintendo's part, and I think the memory should have been a lot larger. It is one of the beefs I had with the PlayStation 4 when that came out. Having 500 gigabyte memory was not nearly enough, so I can't even imagine 32 gigabyte. I think it's just ridiculously small. But anyway, those are my thoughts on it. So let's talk a little bit about the online features as well. A couple of things were announced. Firstly, the Nintendo Switch is not going to be region locked. I'm not praising Nintendo for that, because all I'm going to say for that is it's about bloody goddamn time. Like, I can't believe that it's taken Nintendo this long to have region free, not to have region locking. So I'm not praising them for something that they really should have had quite a long time ago. As well, with the online services now, Nintendo are actually going to start charging for their online services as well. And they did say it's going to start free, but then they're going to charge for it later down the road. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I think one of the good selling points of the Nintendo consoles was that you didn't have to pay for your online services. Obviously, Microsoft started the ball with that first, with Xbox Live being a payable service. Then PlayStation jumped onto the bandwagon, and it was kind of cool that Nintendo sort of stuck to the guns and were like, no, we're not charging for it. Unfortunately, now Nintendo have jumped in with the rest of them and it is now a chargeable service. My only consideration with that is they're going to have to support a lot more in terms of multiplayer gaming in their games to come. Their developers are going to have to really perhaps push more on the multiplayer gaming side of things as well, just to get your money's worth. So I don't know whether that's a good or a bad move for them, because obviously with the whole online thing, there's been a lot of kind of like bullshit things that have happened with it, like day one patches and DLC and season passes and all that. That's come with this whole focus on online gaming and this whole having to pay for that sort of service. So I'm not sure it's the right move for Nintendo to make, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So let's talk a little bit about the games, because this is the issue that I have with the Nintendo Switch, and this is why I think Nintendo are making the same mistake again. Now, there were a couple of games that were announced at the Nintendo Switch presentation, not nearly early enough, in my opinion, but these are a couple of the games that were announced. I'm just going to read them off very quickly. So they announced a game called 1-2 Switch, ARMS, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, Skyrim, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Super Mario Odyssey, and Zelda. There are a couple of games that were announced there, and these games did look interesting, but what really I have an issue with is there are not many games coming out on release on the 3rd of March. The only two games really that I saw that piqued my interest were obviously Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Now that game, for a release title, that will sell the console in itself. The game looks stunning. We got to see a new cinematic trailer for it, which showed more of the story, and it just looks so incredible. And it is one of the games this year, guys, that I am so hyped to play, and I am considering doing a full playthrough for it. But it just looks amazing, and it's such a massive game as well. And I think this game in itself will sell lots of consoles in itself. So the fact that they have actually decided to release with Zelda is very, very good decision for them to make. They also talked about a game called 1-2 Switch, and it's this kind of like motion capture, motion sensor type game, and it seems more like a party game in sort of the vein of WarioWare, in that you can play with people. You don't have to be looking at the computer screen, just look at each other. And they showed like different things that you can do. Like they showed like this cowboy high noon shootout. They showed like pirates and wizards and you know, sword play and all different like mini games that you can play on this 1-2 Switch. But for me, it just seemed like a gimmick. It isn't something that I would play for a long period of time. It's something that I might play with my friends now and again, but after playing all the mini games, I can imagine I'd get very bored with it. Now the price of that game on release is something ridiculous, like £40-50, and I don't think it's worth £40 or £50 for that game alone. For me, it's a tech demo. That is what it is. It's just a tech demo. So yeah, if they were selling it for like £15, or if it got thrown in free with the console when you buy it, then fair enough. But charging £40-50 for that game, it just doesn't seem worth it. So those are the only two games that are being released in March. Other than that, they talked about some other games like ARMS, for example, which is being released in the spring of 2017, and it's again using the motion control, and it's this kind of like fighting game where you have extendable arms, and like you hold the Wii remotes like this, and you kind of punch out and turn to do like a swipe kind of thing, and a curve your punches and that kind of thing. It looked interesting and it looked fun, but it's not the kind of game that would just blow you away. But you know, it's an interesting concept, and again, it's another game that would be fun at parties with friends. They did talk about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's coming April 28th. So it's just a collector's edition or a Game of the Year edition of Mario 8. It includes all of the DLC from the Wii U version, plus a couple of new additions. So you are going to get some new maps, and there's also some new characters, including the Splatoon characters as well, who will have their own moves and animations and that kind of thing. And they look fun and they look cool. The second game I'm interested in the Nintendo Switch is Splatoon 2, which is coming out in summer 2017. Now, Dante and I had heaps of fun playing Splatoon on the Wii U, so we're both very excited about the prospect of Splatoon 2, which will include lots of new weapons, new maps, new game modes as well, and some of the new abilities look really cool, especially this jetpack ability that we saw, which looked quite sweet. But the guy that was presenting that was just kind of hilarious, and he seemed to be really into Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2.
And yeah, it was quite funny. But yeah, Splatoon 2 looks good. Skyrim was announced as well, so they did show a little bit about how the Switch is going to have a little bit more third-party support. They had the guy from FIFA, from EA, that was coming, and he just looked like this like evil overlord giant that just towered over these Japanese people. I'm not bothered about FIFA, but hey, I suppose it's cool for them to have that to show their support. But they did show Bethesda, and they were talking about how Skyrim is coming to the Nintendo Switch, but surprisingly, Skyrim is not going to be a released title, which I'm incredibly disappointed about and surprised about. I don't understand why it's not being available upon release, especially because the Skyrim Remastered Edition has already come out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So what is taking them so long to bring it out on the Nintendo Switch? And why haven't they been working on this a lot sooner once that hardware was produced? I think that's a terrible oversight on Nintendo's part, and obviously it's set to come out in 2017. I think it's like summer or fall of 2017, but that would have been a massive sort of selling point as well, to be able to play Skyrim portably and to take the game with you wherever you go, because it's a massive game. I think that would have been really awesome, and I think it's a shame that that's not coming out on release date. They showed a trailer for the new Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which looked cool again. I really enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles X a lot. Dante's pretty much nearly finished it. I think I haven't finished it yet, but it was a lot of fun to play. But I don't know how I feel about the animation style. It looked too kiddish for me, but I am a fan of the series, and that's set to come out some point in 2017. And then finally they showed a new Mario game, not surprising at all, Super Mario Odyssey, which is set to come out in holiday 2017. And in this time, Mario is actually going to leave the Mushroom Kingdom and will be going out into different alternate worlds. It looked weird for me. It looked really weird, and Mario looked tiny in comparison to the other characters that he was running past, especially when he was going through like this New York City, 1950s New York City kind of setting. And we got to see this Mexican world as well. And, the gameplay looks fun and it looks interesting, and it is a new kind of style. So I'm all for that. I'm all for trying new things. Mario's now got this new hat which has 2 eyes on it or something, and he can use it like a boomerang or something to jump on, a new like game feature or something. So that's cool. But again, I'm all Mario'd out, so I'm not super excited about the new Mario game, though I'm sure it will be a lot of fun to play, especially if it's got a co-op ability to play, where you could do in the most recent Mario game, where you could play like 3 or 4 people on screen at the same time. So yeah, so those were some of the games that were announced. Now, what are my general thoughts on the Nintendo Switch? Well, I think console wise, it's a fantastic idea. I think it's a lot stronger than the Wii U was. I think when the Wii U came out, people didn't really know what it was. It didn't have an identity, but the Nintendo Switch has definitely succeeded in that, and it is a really interesting concept. It is a risk for Nintendo because they are putting all their eggs into one basket, both their console and their handheld console all into one. Now, their handheld console is a massive money earner for them, the Nintendo 3DS, so it is a risk and it is a gamble, and hopefully it will pay off for them. My only problem I have with the console is I don't think it has enough games releasing when it comes out in March 2017. The only game really that people are going to want to pick up and play is Zelda. Now, saying that, Zelda is a big game, so it might be enough to keep people occupied and entertained until, say, summertime, when things like Splatoon come out and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then that hopefully will keep people occupied until sort of the holiday season when the new Mario game is coming out. So, maybe they are trying to spread it across the year so they don't sort of saturate the market all at once. Perhaps that is the reason, but so long as, I think the main thing is they can't afford for any delays in 2017. If Splatoon 2 or Mario Odyssey gets delayed into 2018, it is going to have a massively detrimental effect on the console. And while Zelda is an incredibly strong title for them to be sort of selling with, and probably will sell most of the consoles, and I think they'll do very well this year, they do need to be making sure they're bringing out big AAA titles, big name titles, not these small gimmicky titles, but big name titles to come out to sell the console as well, especially in summer and in winter. Now, for me personally, I am interested in picking up a Nintendo Switch. I definitely want to play Zelda. It is one of the games I'm really excited about, but with us moving into a house in February, I can't afford to buy it on release date. I just can't afford that £280 price point that they're asking for. And also, you know, I am planning to play Mass Effect Andromeda and Horizon Zero Dawn in March, so I'm going to be way too busy anyway playing those games. So I am considering perhaps getting a Nintendo Switch. Depends on money, but I'd like to get one around summer, and I'd like to buy Zelda around summer along with Splatoon 2, and I would really love to do a playthrough of Zelda for you guys to sort of see that game and experience it. Now, obviously, I have mentioned previously about the option for you guys to support the channel if you would like to support it, and I have now set up a donation page on PayPal, which I'll put the link to at the end of this video and in the comment section. If you guys would like to donate to the channel in terms of just helping me to be able to sort of buy games and so that I can review them and that sort of thing, then that's your choice, and I would massively appreciate any support that you could give. If you can't afford to or you don't want to, that's totally cool as well. That's not why I do the channel, but obviously any support that you could give would be massively appreciated, but I will leave that up to you guys to decide. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Take care, and as always, happy gaming.